we should go through the normal disclaimers, right? I was trained perfectly for this by YouTube. No, actually, I was trained, and I want to give a shout out to Naomi Scheinerman. I don't know where she is. She's probably with her very young child. But Naomi teaches like mad science to elementary age school children, and Naomi worked a long time with me to get this right. So don't worry, I'm a professional. Sounds good. Anyway, this is dry ice, right? And dry ice, unlike regular ice, unlike water ice, it never melts into water. Right? Water ice, when it melts, it turns to water, and then eventually it evaporates into a gas. But dry ice, that doesn't happen. It never turns to water. It simply, oh great, you can just pick up another. It simply turns immediately into a gas. Does anybody know what that process is called? Sublimation. Beautiful. I just learned that word like a week ago. Sublimation. Okay. So we've already established. Yeah, let's. Safety. We've already established that both Judaism and science have this mutual affection for inquiry. So as maybe you can imagine, when I learned about sublimation last week, I thought to myself, I wonder what would happen if I allowed dry ice to sublimate, say in a contained space. Like a bottle, like this, right? So those of you who are scientifically minded, you might already see where this is going. But I also wondered, what could be Jewish about this process of contained sublimation? You ready to see? This is the part where that warning comes in. So if you are sensitive to loud noise, now may be a time that you want to just step out for a second. I also learned that water speeds up the process of sublimation. And because it's very important that the high holidays, that Rosh Hashanah services don't go on for the entire day, we're going to add some water to help this go just a little bit faster. So in goes some water. A little bit more. And then we're going to add some dry ice. This is actually broken up dry ice. They're just like in little pellet form. You're going to see that start to smoke as it fills up. No rabbis were harmed in the making of this experiment. We're going to add, we want to make sure we have more ping pong balls. We got to go fast now. And we're going to cap it off. Oh, no. This is where it becomes a little crazy. We put that into the bucket. We add the balls. Now this takes about a minute, up to a minute, and you may want to cover your ears. I'll tell you when it's like about to happen. You can kind of hear it start to crackle. Oh yeah, we're getting close. Oh yeah, here we go. Everyone get ready.
I just want to go.
This is where patience is. learned from it. It's more than just sublimation, right?
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home, a very important lesson, absolutely. But we learned that if sublimation occurs in a contained space, right, the pressure builds and builds and builds, and eventually having nowhere to go, the bottle ruptures, and we can see the shockwave. It's observable. In some ways, I think this experiment replicates our experience of life. Sometimes it feels, especially this year, like our world is contained in that bottle. The pressure is building and building and building with each thing that seems to plague our society. The insurgence of racism in America, pressure. The upheaval in the Middle East, pressure. There are those whose actions that they believe to be on behalf of religion are wreaking havoc upon efforts to build a more peaceful world, pressure. There is no such thing, seemingly anymore, as civil dialogue between people of opposing views, pressure. There are far too many people in this world who don't have enough to support themselves and their families. Pressure, pressure, pressure. We have entire countries in Europe that are sinking under the weight of fiscal responsibility. Pressure. There are serious questions over those who are put in place to protect us. Pressure. And there are people whose reactions are horrific, and they commit horrible acts against those people. Pressure. The list goes on and on. We open up our newspaper, maybe that's a little antiquated, we turn on our devices, right? We read the headlines and it feels like the rupture